we go in 3, 2, 1.
Folks, what is up? And welcome back to the Vol Talk podcast. I am Blake, and I am also back to the Vol Talk podcast after a couple week hiatus. Shout out to Dakota, friend of the program, who filled in for me for those couple episodes. Really appreciate him. He did a great job filling in for me, but I am back, Austin. I'm excited to be back. That is my brother, Austin, and we are here to talk all things volunteer sports. And today, Austin, it is all about Florida Week. You and Dakota made a spectacular point in the last episode about, hey, playoffs kind of, if you're not going to the playoffs, kind of feels like games are meaningless. No, Florida Week means something.
Yep, it does, man. This week means something. I've said this multiple times on the show, and I'll say it one more time for new listeners. But this game, to me, growing up as a Tennessee fan, I've been a Tennessee fan as long as I can remember, Blake. Never another team, by the way. And this was always the game. This was always the game. And we most of the time lost the game, by the way. But it was always close. And you could just tell, the teams just hated each other, man. And this goes all the way back to the 90s, where this was the premier game in the SEC in the 90s. Basically, whoever wins this game is going to go on to the SEC championship and potentially a national championship. That's how much was on the line in the 1990s there in Florida and Tennessee. So, yeah, this game means something, man. This game means something despite both these teams being eliminated from playoff contention.
Absolutely. It is absolutely a critical game, and you bet your bottom dollar that Florida is going to be up for this game. They're going to want to beat Tennessee at home. That's the Swamp. We're going to talk about that. And bottom line, Austin, is we need to win this game. Heupel needs to get these guys motivated for this game because we need to beat Florida in the Swamp. So we're going to talk about that, folks. Like our preview shows typically go, we're going to be looking at the Vols offense versus the Florida defense. And then we'll look at the Vols defense versus the Florida offense. And then, of course, we will close with official score predictions. So stick around for that and drop your comments below or jump in live chat if you're watching the premiere and let us know what your official score prediction is for the game coming up on Saturday, Tennessee Vols versus Florida Gators down in Gainesville. Austin, we also would ask the folks, good folks watching the show right now, to please like and subscribe. We really appreciate the support. So, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We are closing in on 1,000 subscribers. That is massive to us. We can't thank you guys enough. So please do that. And again, join the conversation. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think the score is going to be, and let us know what you think about, having to win this game, Austin, because it is a huge game. But let's jump right into it, brother. Let's get into the preview. So we're going to talk first about the offense versus the Florida defense. And Austin, I think, this particular matchup for us is going to come down to, at least for me, I think is going to come down to, how does Joey Aguilar perform on the road in the Swamp? Because, he has looked a little shakier than he did before the past couple of games. So we're going to need him to not make any critical mistakes so that we can come out on top in this game.
He has, man. The last 2 football games he's played, he's having trouble seeing safeties. He is. He's not seeing where the safeties are in the defense, and that includes against New Mexico State and of course Oklahoma. Both those games at home, so this game's on the road, which is pretty concerning. Another thing that's concerning, Blake, and another storyline from the game, unfortunately, it's at night. Despite Florida having 3 wins, this game is at night, 7:30 kickoff. It was thrown around that it could be 3:30, 5:30. Ends up being 7:30, of course, prime time for the Gators. And let me just say why that I think that's the case. I don't think it's because I think there is some hate towards the Vols, but I don't think it's because of the hate of the Vols. I think it's because we bring the ratings. We're the second highest
Yeah.
average viewed team in the SEC this year, and top 5 in the entire country. Like, this is the prime time Vols. Like, they want Tennessee in that time slot because they know Florida and Tennessee typically is a massive game. So they put us there, despite it should not, on paper, it shouldn't be a close game. Now the Vegas line, Blake, another interesting topic in the game, started at 5.5, moved to 3.5 already. That's been the story of our season, dude. It's lines moving towards the other team's favor, dude. How many times have I got on the show and said that in a pregame that, oh man, line started at 7.5 and it's moving towards the other team? Like, that has happened a lot this year.
Unfortunately, it has. It did with Oklahoma. We saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
It did with honestly, I don't remember a game that it hasn't done that.
Exactly. It did with Alabama as well. So
it did with Alabama. So definitely
rough.
not encouraging. Very rough indeed. But Austin, regardless of that, you got to find a way to win, man. You have to find a way to win, and you have to find a way to score points and impose your will on the Florida defense. This is a Florida team that is, as most of our listeners probably know, is without a permanent head coach. They've got an interim right now. They fired Billy Napier earlier in the year, much to our disappointment, Austin. We really thought that they should have extended him, if not signed him to a lifetime contract. But unfortunately, they, for some reason, fired him. And so they've got an interim coach. It's, a team that is, Austin, it's not as talented as we are. It's just this Florida team is a beatable team.
It is. The interim bump really hasn't happened for them. They got a little bit against Georgia. They were fired up for that game, played really well against Georgia, but they've looked awful last couple weeks. Even their defense, which I think their defense has been the strength of their team, hasn't looked good the last couple weeks. Now, those games were on the road. They went at Kentucky and at Ole Miss, gave up 30 plus in both those football games. So, again, you would think, oh, well, this is a spot where our offense could eat, but I'm done trying to predict what this 2025 team is going to bring us, man. I think this game's going to be about the intangibles. And I can't say I'm not worried about how Aguilar's trending. It's not trending in a good direction. And I don't really know why. Like, if you tell me he doesn't play well against Brent Venables' defense, that's fine. Like, I get that. Oklahoma's a really good team. They just showed it by beating Alabama. But why do you follow that up with the New Mexico State performance? Like, that's puzzling. It is. It's puzzling. And Florida has a better defense than the teams that Aguilar's beat up on this year. They have a better defense than Kentucky. They have a better defense than Mississippi State. They have a better defense than Arkansas. And that's like really been his best games against the tougher competition. It hasn't been as clean as a football. I still think he's elevating the offense, Blake. I think the offense overall looks better and moves the ball more, but a lot of it's not finishing drives or just, a miss here and there, or drive getting killed by turnovers, which has happened the last couple of weeks. So not going to lie, pretty worried about that when we're talking about a night game in the swamp.
Absolutely. You gotta, like I said at the top of the section, you can't make critical mistakes like we have been, especially on the road. I mean, it's just that's a basic thing to say, right? But it's true. You cannot make those critical mistakes, particularly on the road, particularly in the swamp at night. So gonna need that from Joey. But Austin, what else do you think we're gonna need from this offense to have a good game and put us in a position to win?
Yeah, I to piggyback on your point about not making critical mistakes. I agree with that totally. I mean, it's felt like, I actually don't know how, I don't have the exact numbers to back this up, but man, it's felt like the 2 times Eichel has played in the swamp in his career, specifically 2023, where again, we were 10 plus point favorites in that game, by the way. It's a lot. It's a game people like to sweep under the rug because that 23 team didn't live up to the hype. But at the end of the day, Vegas thought we were going to win that game handedly in the swamp, like and the opposite happened. The exact opposite happened. And one of the reasons I think that was because of penalties, which, really hasn't been as a big as an issue this year as it was last year, but penalties kill drives, man. False starts, which is obviously something that you have to take into account when we're talking about this kind of environment. And I don't know how the environment's going to be. I just know as a kid, Blake, growing up, learning about college football from dad and everything, I just know it was Death Valley, LSU's Death Valley, and it was the swamp. I mean, that's what I remember as being like the scariest places to play. And of course, that's going to impact the offense more. So yeah, I mean, Heupel and Aguilar are going to have to deal with it. And it's not unknown that this offense and this team in particular, this Heupel-led Tennessee Vols, they don't have their best performances on the road, Blake. We haven't in his tenure here. So even though this is, I mean, dude, and it feels like we've said this so many times about Florida, but this year in particular, man, I swear I've said this at least 10 times in my life. It's like this year in particular, if you don't beat Florida this year in the swamp, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? I was doing some research, some stuff I was telling you before the show, Blake. Of course, everyone knows the last time we beat them was 2003 in Florida, in Gainesville. The time before that, it was
Casey Clausen.
2001. So, yes, it was Casey Clausen. That is correct. And I correct me if I'm wrong, was 2001 also Clausen? Who was quarterback in 2001? Casey Clausen deserves a statue after all that research. But so that's 2 games in a row winning in the swamp. Okay. 2 games in a row you won in the swamp. Well, the streak before that, Blake, we hadn't won in the swamp since 1971. We're on a 2-17 run in the swamp. And this is why it's like, and I'm a full believer. I've tried to bring this and that kind of analysis to the show. I'm a full believer in this year's team has no impact on the previous years. But it's so hard as a Vol fan who does a Vol podcast for me to come on here and say, oh, 2-17 since the 70s, the early 70s just doesn't matter. Just throw it out. I just don't, I like, there's something to it. There's something to it because, Blake, as you know, there have been years where we're more talented. We are more talented. We are bringing the better football team to the table, but we have found a way to lose in so many of those seasons.
Yeah. Now, granted, for those of my friends who are listening who may be a little bit slow at math like myself, 2-17 since the 70s, that, as you can see there with that math, we weren't playing Florida every year yet. No. In the 70s and the 80s and all that good stuff. Now, like you said, in the 90s was the premier rivalry. We played them every year. They became kind of our number 2 rival after Alabama. And so, but the point stands, man, like, 2-17 in the swamp, since the frickin' 70s. I mean, daggum. That
not
honestly,
great.
I hate that. That hurts. That hurts. So look, yes, to me, this is a must win. I'm just going to be honest. This is a must win. Like you said, and to your point about, hey, if not this year, win.
Yes.
It's a must win.
And it's going to take the offense. Like we're talking about offense here. It's going to take the offense because raise your hand in the Vol Talk chat if you believe in Tim Banks and the defense. I mean, where they're, I mean, the Tim Bank believers, they must be hiding in the closet. They are nowhere to be found right now. No one should believe in this defense at all. So it's going to come off the back of this offense, and it's going to be done through the passing game. I've always said Heupel's offense, people keep talking about the 50-50 splits between the run and the pass. Heupel, for his offense to be as successful as it has at times, he needs explosive pass plays. And one of the ways you get explosive pass plays is give Aguilar time. I will say that's been one of the bright spots of the season is pass blocking. David Sanders continues to look like a star. He was the highest graded true freshman last week from PFF. Now that was against New Mexico State, but he's shown that pretty much since he's been playing. There's been mistakes here and there, and you could say one of his big mistakes cost us the Oklahoma game. But I won't do that to the kid because for the most part, he's been phenomenal. And so I expect that to continue. Florida really doesn't have some vicious pass rush or anything like that. I think as a unit, their defense is solid. But I don't think it's an elite unit by any means. I mean, dude, they gave up 38 to Kentucky, so that should tell you it's not, it can't be that good of a unit. It's Cutter Boley in Kentucky. And it's also one of those things, Kentucky just has their number. It's like out of all the
Yeah,
teams
they
that
do.
just has Florida's number, it's Kentucky. I don't get that. I really don't. Because of course, if you do your transitive properties, Blake, we annihilate Kentucky, they
Yeah,
annihilate Florida. We should
exactly.
go in and beat Florida by 7 touchdowns, but we all know that's not going to happen. Like I don't think there's a single Vol fan on the planet right now that's confident about this game. So yeah, man, it is going to take the offense. So like if we're going to win this game, I don't know if it's going to be a shootout style, but we're gonna need them to finish drives. We're gonna need the long sustained drives that we've had. We had those drives against Oklahoma, but they resulted in no points. And I also throw this in the offense analysis, Blake. Max Gilbert's gonna have to hit some kicks, buddy. Like you're gonna have to learn to hit a couple
Yeah.
field goals, like and get it between the uprights because those points are going to be critical.
You're gonna have to learn to do it under pressure too. The kid
Yeah.
doesn't handle pressure very well.
Nope.
You're gonna have some pressure in the swamp, so we're gonna need you to figure that out. Now, Austin, pundits used to like to talk about this rivalry in the '90s being pretty much decided by the run game. Okay, it was literally whoever and I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe throughout the entire '90s and into the 2000s, basically whoever rushed for more yards won the football game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just what happened. Do you see our run game being any kind of factor in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about our run game is the thing that's frustrating about our run game this year in particular that and it's very different from last year, I think, too, because Dylan Sampson last year, he could get you five. Like he could get you five when you need it, or three when you need it. This year, I think it's more of a volatile run game, man. It's a little bit more
Yeah.
boom or bust. It's not a ton of like 80 plus yard runs or 60 plus yard runs, but it feels like a lot of our rushing production does come on those 20, 30, 40 yard runs. Whereas, last year, like we could rely on Dylan Sampson to pick up a third down here and there because God knows Nico wasn't going to do it. But this year, it's like I don't know, man. Like on a 3rd and 3, I'm like begging them to pass because I feel like, oh man, we're not going to be able to pick up this 3rd and 3. Even though, like, if you want to win a championship, you need to pick up 3rd and 3 running the ball. Which of course this team's not coming close to competing for one of those this year. So yeah, to answer your question, it's going to be a factor. I always say that I still feel that this team is better playing with a lead. It just makes the whole team play better. And that's kind of been the case. So I would love to get up early for a 2 touchdown lead, which I don't think that's ever happened in the swamp for us, Blake. But a nice 2 touchdown lead and able to rely on Deshaun Bishop and Star Thomas, who have both been really good. Like the run game hasn't been bad this year. I think it's been about as productive as last year, just with multiple guys rather than just DSamp. But yeah, we're gonna need those 3rd and shorts and be able to actually pick those up on the ground. Who knows if we'll be able to do it though? That's a whole nother question.
That is a whole nother question. And of course, we hope that if Aguilar does have some trouble with mistakes, that Heupel, like he used to have to last year with Nico, can turn to the run game to, in a sense, bail us out. But then again, last year we also had a defense to hold the other team in check so that we could rely on the run game. So I think I tend to agree with you. I think we're gonna have to, be able to move the ball, and this offense is really gonna have to win this game. And so that's gonna come down to the passing attack and not making crucial mistakes like we talked about.
This
So
team, this
any
team is
other kind of go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, because you're talking about offense sees the ball. This team is basically 2022, yet you're getting no good defensive performance. Like in 2022, you got some good defensive performance, and the offense was more consistent in 2022. But defensively, I mean, this team has been. I mean, you can't point to a single good defensive performance this year, Blake. You could in 22. You have LSU, you have Kentucky, and I'm sure a
Right.
couple others. I mean, there's not many. There's not many great Tim Banks performances under his belt right now. but you could at least point to a few. This year you can't, so this offense is gonna have to hit the big plays. And those are the games we've been in, even the close games we lost against Georgia, for example. We hit those big plays. We hit a couple of those big plays to Brazzle down the field. That's not going to change in this game. We're definitely going to need a couple of those in the swamp.
Absolutely. Going to need some big plays. And honestly, Austin, I do think, you're right. I think we're going to need to get a lead early, whether that's a big lead, a 2-touchdown lead, whatever. I think we're going to need to get a lead early and stay in control of the football game. Because that's what you got to do when you're on the road and you're going to be playing a Florida team that, trust me, even though they have an interim coach, even though they're not very here, they are going to play their best game against Tennessee.
Well, let me bring this quote to you real quick, Blake, since we're talking about that. We all associate Heupel with the offensive side of the ball, and Heupel's the head coach. And this is on Heupel, which is motivating your team, getting your team ready for this game and this rivalry game, getting them actually hyped up for it, and making them realize the importance of it, despite the season not going the way we want it to so far. So this Florida player, I guess, was at a press conference or whatever, was asked about this. Well, he said this Florida linebacker, which again, Florida defense, so this fits right here. He says, we're willing to make it personal, it being a rivalry game. That's the standard going into this week being Tennessee Florida week. I'm looking forward to staying to the standard and making it 11 straight. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and I haven't watched every single press conference. I don't remember our players talking about a rivalry like that. Yeah, I don't remember it, man. I just think I don't think Heupel emphasizes that part of college football in particular enough, because these rivalry games are really what built this sport. I mean, it's really what built this sport is these big time rivalry games, Blake. And dude, I promise you, there's a group of Auburn fans in Alabama that would say that they're fine with 6-6 every year if one of the 6 was Alabama. Like, that's how much those games mean. I mean, it is.
Yes.
And
that's especially true for Ohio State, Michigan. I mean,
exactly.
they would rather beat each other than the national championship.
Ohio State fans are ready to fire their national championship coach because he lost to Michigan 3 times in a row. That's 100%, dude. And this Florida player clearly gets it. Like, he knows the streak. He shot, like, he didn't memorize. He just knows it. 11 straight in the swamp. He knows it. And he said this week, like he's emphasizing
this week.
It's this week, this Florida Tennessee week. Like, they clearly in their program, and I think this is, dude, we kept Napier going for probably 2 more years than he needed to because he kept beating us. And one of the reasons was that Napier at least emphasized this week and what this means in this rivalry game. And I think that has having a lasting effect. I really hope that Heupel's doing the same thing, because I think if we come into it with the same mindset as them, is like, oh, we want to kill them because it's Florida, then Blake, I think we're going to be fine because we're more talented. But if that intangible that Florida has of, oh, I want to come in and just beat this Tennessee team so bad because it's Tennessee, that can dissipate the talent gap. It can completely make it go away because they're motivated and we may not be.
And that's what it comes down to in college football. You talked about, what built college football being rivalries. Well, the reason it built college football, the reason people love college football, say compared to the NFL, and why there's some fans like myself who prefer college football to the NFL, is because those intangibles, because the fact that you can have a situation where a team is clearly not as talented, but they pull off the upset or whatever the case may be because of those intangible factors, like a rivalry where, man, you hate your rival so much that you could wheel out some paraplegics in wheelchairs, on the field, but they hate that rival so much that they're going to find a way to freaking win the football game. Right. And so, bet your bottom dollar, like I said at the top of the program, that Florida is going to want to win this game. So, man, I hope and pray that Heupel is emphasizing the importance of this game, exactly like you said, because we need that. It look, if players are down, oh, we're not making the playoffs. Da, da, da. Okay, put everything else out of your mind. Florida week.
Yeah.
Beat Florida. Period.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That should be the conversation around the building, because this game should be our quote Super Bowl, like people like to say. I hate when people say that, but it should be, because that's how much this game means, dude.
Exactly. Exactly. So definitely want to see that from the offense. We need to see some scoring. We need to see minimal mistakes, Austin. But let's transition over to the defense and what we need to see from them. You've got Florida. You've got an offense led by DJ Lagway that is just, it's not
It's
that
abysmal.
great.
It's
Again,
abysmal.
it's,
Just
I mean,
just
this
say it like it is, man. They suck. They are terrible.
exactly.
And that's
And
one
you
of
brought some stats to me about DJ Lagway in particular,
yeah,
and so I'd love to get into that because this is going to be a defining moment in my
it
mind
is.
for Tim Banks, Austin.
It is. And because and we've said on our show, despite some people in the comment section not listening, that we don't want to fire Heupel. And I think that's ridiculous talk at this point in time. Now I reserve the right to change my opinion on that if certain things play out. But at the end of the day, Tim Banks his seat is on fire, straight up flaming. I think he has not, his good has not outweighed his bad, and it's not close in my opinion at Tennessee. Because I mean, part of me even thinks we overrated last year a little bit, Blake, because against good offenses, they didn't show up. And the reason I think this game in particular is so critical, because this Florida offense is just straight up not functioning against any team. I mean, it's just not a good offense against Kentucky, which, by the way, remember in the Kentucky game, we only scored 56, but it could have been 106. I mean, we could have done anything we wanted to that Kentucky defense. That same defense, they put up 7 points against Blake, and at Kentucky, same exact circumstances, right? Same exact circumstances. DJ Lagway throws 3 interceptions. DJ Lagway is a turnover machine, dude. He's an absolute turnover machine. I mean, dude, I'm looking at these turnover worthy plays. It is multiple turnover worthy plays per game. He is not a good player. It's one of my preseason predictions I'm feeling pretty good about. I mean, DJ Lagway and the overhype that kid got, I didn't see it based on last year. He beat up on bad competition. Whenever he played better competition, it just it never showed up. I also don't think the tools are that elite, Blake. I don't think his arm is as big as people thought it was. And, just comparing it to another guy in the SEC, Lenore Sellers, he is also kind of like a project type quarterback. I think his tools are way better, Blake. His tools are way better. So Lagway has just been overhyped. He's just not been good. They're sticking to him, Blake. They've stuck to him all year long, probably because they're paying him a ton in NIL, so they feel like it's necessary to stick with them. Point being, dude, we have been the get right game for the last 50 quarterbacks we've played at this point, Blake, in Tim Banks' career. We have been the get right game for everybody. And for some reason, I just had this epiphany the other day. Because we're always like bell aching. Oh, why do guys just come play Tennessee better than they ever have? And I realized, well, we're not cursed. It's just because we have Tim Banks as our defensive coordinator. There's a reason. There's a reason quarterbacks
Tim
have
Banks
career
experience.
games. It's the Tim Banks experience, dude. It's just another day in the Tim Banks experience, man. And listen, we've been defenders of him. I think this game is going to be the game where it's like, if you let DJ Lagway, and who does still have talent, I think it's overrated, but I think he still does have talent. If you let that Florida offense all of a sudden get hot, then I think you just have to hit the road, man. I just don't think there's any justification for keeping you as our defensive coordinator, because this offense has been terrible all year long, Blake. It's been awful.
Yeah, and you were talking about some some PFF grades for Lagway.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, he hasn't had an over a 70 against SEC competition this year.
Dude.
And so if all of a sudden he's in the 80s or 90s in a PFF grade against us, that's going to be pretty damning for Tim Banks.
It's in my opinion, it's over. Like, and people can keep defending him until he gives up 100 per game or what. But in my opinion, it's done after that. Blake, just for added context, and then I'll get into the PFF stuff about this offense as a whole. Right? Let me just give you their point totals. Let me just go through the point totals real quick, Blake. They put up 16 against South Florida. South Florida, by the way, South Florida with Alex Gold, 16 points at Florida, okay, at Florida. They put up 10 against LSU. They put up 7 against Miami. Okay, they put up 29 against Texas. That's because Arch Manning kept throwing the ball to the defense. They put up 17 against A&M, 23 against Mississippi State, 20 against Georgia, 7 against Kentucky, and 24 against Ole Miss. I mean, this is a absolutely abysmal offense. Now, thankfully for Florida and Florida fans, the fans that we don't like so much, they're playing an absolutely abysmal defense. Okay, it's a stoppable force versus a very movable object this week. Like, that's what it is this week. A very movable object for the Tennessee Volunteer defense.
What an accurate description, brother. Now, I did have Joshua Josephs in our thumbnail because I do think
he's exempt.
With how
he's actually
bad
good.
Yeah, well, and with how bad Lagway is, I do think it's going to come down to, in my opinion, on defense, like we've said all year, can we get pressure on the quarterback?
Yep.
And can we force these turnovers that Lagway is prone to produce?
Yes, and it's a great point, Blake. His pressure to sack is not good. He has 18.8% pressure to sack percentage. It's actually gotten better throughout the season, but there's some games, I mean, like against Miami, where it's 30%. And if 30% of his pressures in this game become sacks, then we should be doing well on defense. To get into his passing grade that you alluded to earlier, Blake, because again, this is supposed to be one of the most hyped prospects coming into the year as far as quarterback is concerned. His highest graded game was week 1 against a team that I genuinely have never heard of in my entire life. LIU, no clue who they are. 80.5 grade. His highest grade since against SEC competition, right? We'll go SEC competition is against Mississippi State. And he, funny enough, one of his highest graded games is Texas. Both of those are in the 60s. I mean, against Kentucky, he had a 42 grade. Against Mississippi State, Ole Miss last week, he had a 58 grade. Like, he has not been good, man. He is a turnover machine. He only has 11 big-time throws to 19 turnover-worthy plays. He's not good. He's just not a good quarterback. So when he looks good all of a sudden, for one, I got two things to say about it. For one, don't think DJ Lagway's fixed, Florida fans. Don't think he's fixed college football media. He's not. He played Tennessee and Tim Banks. That's why he's looked good. Okay, that's why he's going to look good. And number 2, you got to go Tim Banks. You got to go, in my opinion. And again, a guy who's been patient. Go look at our old past. If this is your first Vol Talk video, go look at our past videos. But dude, you cannot put together a season where everyone, including New Mexico State, has their get-right game against you. I'm sorry, you cannot do that. Like, there has to be some repercussions to being the worst defense in the SEC at some point.
Exactly. Now, hear us, Vol Talk listeners, friends of the program, I hope. We're saying if, in the hypothetical, that Lagway suddenly has a fantastic game and this offense, of Florida's is suddenly clicking all of a sudden, then, hey, excuse me, Mr. Banks, explanation, please.
Yes.
Let's have that conversation. But now what we hope happens is that Tim Banks has his get right game.
Yes.
And that this defense completely shuts out, this Florida offense.
Don't
and
get
again,
it twisted.
Gets these turnovers and all this.
Don't get it twisted, Blake. We're happier when things go well, rather than more upset when they don't. That's fact. I am a happier, like, I get more emotional over wins than I do losses. I really do. Now, y'all have seen me upset on here before. I am just I'm basing it on his 5-year career here, Blake, and that, in my opinion, the bad has significantly outweighed the good at this point. And the talent is no longer an excuse. You
Right.
have no
Right.
scholarship
Right.
limits, and you have 3 players on this defense that are projected to go in the first 2 rounds of the upcoming NFL draft. There is talent all over this defense. There really is. There's talent all over this defense, and it's just not meshing well as a unit. It's not performing well as a unit, and that's been the case all year long. I mean, has any Tennessee Vol fan, anyone who's upset about what we're saying right now, has any Vol fan this year watched a third down and felt confident, no matter the down and distance, that we were getting off the field? Ever? Because I'm telling you, Blake, since week 1, I don't care if it's 3rd and 3 or if it's 3rd and 17, dude. I know that our defense is going to find a way to give it up. And I mean, and that's not just me making it up. There is several examples of 3rd and 10 plus of our defense giving up critical conversions all season long. Are we just going to blame that on the players the whole year?
Yeah, or giving up, fourth and manageable, and then
Yeah,
giving up the fourth down conversion, right?
exactly.
So yes, it's something where, yeah, the third down, man, you got to get off the field. You got to
Yeah,
get off the field. And we used to have, like the defense had the bend don't break kind of deal.
but that's not
That
sustainable.
dam's leaking, man. That
It
that that
is.
levee's broke, and we're bending and breaking.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
yeah.
and frankly, you all made a great point, you and Dakota made a great point in the New Mexico State review that, hey, bend don't break is all fine and good against your Georgias and your Oklahomas, but giving up 340 yards to New Mexico State is not the kind of bending I want to be doing.
No, you shouldn't be
And
bending at
so
all against those teams. You
you
just
shouldn't you
shouldn't.
shouldn't be bending at all against those teams. So
And
yeah, and you're right. Like the talent's there. Now look, have we had a depth issue, particularly at cornerback? Yeah, there's been some injuries, but you can't put everything on that, on that one thing, especially when you have a body of evidence, Austin, as you're alluding to with Tim Banks, that it's not just this year, it's the whole body of evidence that has accrued, right?
it's very frustrating. It's also the cornerback example would be frustrating to me because you had 2 guys that filled in that are it's their first time playing the SEC. Ty Redmond, true freshman, Colt Hood transferred from Colorado, that have filled in and been fantastic. Like they overall, their play, especially Colton Hood, has been fantastic. Has it been perfect at all times? No, but it's been more good than bad. And like I feel that way about just about every other unit except for linebacker and safety, which I know has been a point of contention on our show and among Vols fans. But I keep going back to, you had a portal window open and you didn't hit the portal for linebackers or safeties. So like what happened there? You brought up a great point about fourth downs because we have given up a lot of fourth and shorts. I know when Napier was the coach, they were very aggressive on fourth down. I don't know how the interim has been. I haven't watched Florida, and they've been getting annihilated the last 3 games, so there hasn't been much to watch. But the interim, I don't know if he has the same philosophy on fourth down as Billy Napier does, but we have to come into the game with that mindset that you're not playing to
Right.
get a stop on 3 downs. You have 4 downs to get a stop. Especially, I mean, I think every team has played us more aggressively on fourth down, Blake, because everyone knows since Heupel has got to Tennessee, he has this high octane offense, and so that they feel like they need to stay ahead of the game and steal a possession here and there. So those plays are going to be absolutely critical in this game. Like I can't remember the last time this defense has got off the field on fourth down. I cannot remember. If we have a fourth down stop this year, Blake, I would be shocked if you told me that. You'd have to tell me, especially in the SEC games, like you'd have to show me the video evidence, and I would need it from like I would need to make sure it's not AI because I genuinely cannot remember a single time that we got a fourth down stop this year.
I do think there has been one, maybe two this year, but you're gonna have
Every
to dig
critical
through the
one? No.
film. Yeah, you're gonna have to dig through the film to
Yeah.
find it for sure.
Yes. Yes.
So Austin, yeah, I honestly, for me, one of the big points when it comes to this defense, in addition to what I said earlier, which is getting pressure on Lagway, forcing him to, kind of produce those turnover worthy plays that he's prone to do. In addition to that, we got to get off the field.
Yep.
We got to get off the field on third down. You got to get off the field on fourth down. What else are you looking for from, kind of before we head into our score predictions? What else from this defense? What else from Tim Banks are you looking for in this game?
If we create the turnovers, kind of mix the two sides of the ball. If we create the turnovers, you must get points. I mean, that's been one of the most. That's been the one of the things that have made me want to pull my hair out this year is how many times, because when our defense gets a stop, like, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. So sometimes that comes through turnovers. When our defense gives you a stop offense, and I know we're asking a lot, but you have to get points. You have to, because know they're only going to give you 3 or 4 in a game. Like, we're going to give you 3 or 4 stops every time they get a stop. We need to take advantage of it, Blake, because that killed us in the Oklahoma game. That killed us in several games. It killed us in the Georgia game. It's killed us in these losses that we've had, even in the wins, the squeak by wins against teams that we should be beating by multiple scores. We have to get points off turnovers if our defense can create some.
A fantastic point. I'm glad you brought that up because that is absolutely critical for sure. And you mentioned Max Gilbert earlier. Maybe it comes in the form of a Max Gilbert field goal. You got to get at least 3 when you get those kind of extra possessions or when you get those turnovers. You got to get some kind of points like you're talking about. So, figure it out. Figure out how to generate those turnovers from Lagway, and then offense. Figure out how to generate points from that. Because you're gonna have to force the mistakes from Florida in the road environment, and you're gonna have to minimize your mistakes because look, Florida fans are I'm personally not very in tune with Florida and their fandom, but I can only imagine that they're probably pretty down in the dumps. I would be too. We've been there, Austin, as a program. And so we're no stranger to that. But Florida is a proud program, and Florida still hates Tennessee. So their fans are going to show up to that game. It's going to be a raucous environment. And as you already mentioned, those Florida players are going to be looking to win this football game regardless. It is about pride for them in this week. And so our team has to understand that as well. We have to minimize those mistakes and enforce mistakes from them so that we can get this win in the swamp, man, because we need it. We gotta win, brother.
And you're talking about, like, I don't know. It's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, okay, neither of these teams technically have anything to play for outside of the rivalry, right? But guess what that means? They also have nothing to lose. Like, Florida's going to be completely loose. No one's going to be tight. Like, no one's going to be tight in this game. They're going to be completely loose. They have, all they want to do is beat Tennessee. That's it. And if they lose, whatever. Who cares? Like, it's whatever to them. They'll still say, "Oh, wow, look at the overall record," or whatever. Like, so it's the pressure is on us, and we need to show up. I mean, at the end of the day, we need to show up. And I think, this might not be, even if we lose this game, this might not be the game where people are like, "Oh, it's time to fire Heupel." I do think if the defense doesn't show up, this should be the game where people demand a different defensive coordinator, because this should be our get right game, Blake. But unfortunately, where I'm leaning in my heart, just watching this 2025 team, it feels like, just like Cutter Bowling, Kentucky, it's going to be Florida's get right game on offense instead of our get right game on defense.
Yeah, and you can't have that, particularly if it costs us the game, for sure. So I think you're right. I think we've got to have that tough conversation where it's like, look, you just when a Florida offense scores 7 against a Kentucky defense that we absolutely sliced and served up for breakfast.
Yeah.
You just can't justify if
can't,
if that Florida offense comes out and slices us up. You just can't justify it. So
because that's the cherry on top of everything else, right? That's the thing. It's the cherry on top.
It's leading up to. Exactly. The body of evidence. The body of evidence. And again, to me, particularly if it costs us this game, brother, I want to win this game in the freaking swamp. 2 and
Yeah.
17 since
Yeah.
the
It's
71. Are you
embarrassing.
kidding me?
It's
No,
embarrassing.
it's embarrassing. Win. We got to win. And so Tim
Especially when
Banks,
you look at the results, Blake, all the results that could have been
yes,
wins and weren't.
exactly. So if you cost us this game, brother, Tim Banks, look, I'm sorry, man, but you're gonna have to. Josh Heupel's gonna have to make a change of some sort
I agree.
to get us right. So, but Austin, that's a good segue into the official score predictions. So, here's the deal, man. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. My score prediction is gonna be purely based on hope.
Okay.
Hope, brother. Hope, because I desperately want to win this football game.
For the
So,
context of our listeners, like our new listeners, our past listeners, even the hardcores who have been listening since last year, okay, when we started the show, last football season was our first season covering Tennessee on YouTube. I have never picked against us in a football game. I've not. I've not picked us against
yeah,
us ever.
yeah.
I have picked us to win every single football game that we've played. That's been heartbreaking at some points because we've lost some of those football games. Now, pretty much all of them were pretty close. Like all of them were winnable at times. And I think you can justify pick. I mean, of course, like we could have beat Georgia this year. We could have beat Oklahoma this year. We didn't. Um, I hate to say it, man, but that's changing today.
No.
I
Are
hate to
you
say it,
kidding me?
man. I hate to say it.
For the first time in Vol Talk history, you're gonna pick against us.
I am. I'm just going
Brother,
because every time I predict something, and of course there's going to be bias involved, right? We love the Vols enough. We made a show about them, right? Like we covered the Vols. Like there's going to be bias involved, but I always when I'm pretty convicted about some of my predictions, man. Like I started to get less convicted like midway through this season, like around the Oklahoma game. I'm like, oh, like I don't feel good about any of these, but like I typically go towards what my heart's saying, and my heart is not saying that we win this game, dude. It's just not. It's not.
brother, brother, that is heartbreaking. First time in Vol Talk
It
history, you're
is.
gonna pick against us.
I know.
Man, that I need a moment to recover.
Okay. Well, let me get my score prediction out first, and
Yeah,
you end us on a
yeah,
positive note.
rip the bandit off. What's the actual score prediction?
Dude, this is BVS talking, right? BVS is
I was
all
gonna
over
say
this
that, brother.
prediction.
Your
Well,
BVS is
but it's
rearing
also
its ugly head right now.
no, but it's also based on what we've seen, Blake. It's also based on what we've seen. Listen, we're only a 3.5 point favorite in the swamp right now. We were like 12 point favorites in 2023. Like it, throw the line out, throw the rosters out in this game. You just have to. And we just mentioned 2 and 17 in the last since the what was that the Richard Nixon administration, Blake. I mean it's been a while since we've gotten a streak in the swamp. It's BVS on this one, man. I saw a lot of these kind of games as kids. I'm gonna go 41-40, 1 point loss. Game winning field goal for the Gators. I hate to say it, man. Absolutely hate to
Oh
say
my
it.
God.
That's just where I'm at with this team,
Shootout,
man.
hi- high scoring game, and we lose by one. Brother,
I hate
listen,
it.
if you're anywhere near right on that,
I'm show's
I
canceled. Show is
um
canceled.
y'all gonna have to do some wellness checks on me. If you don't hear from me from a few days, assume the worst. It's it's gonna
And
be
to be clear, Fall Nation, we should win this game. We are more
yeah,
talented. We have the better quarterback.
yeah.
We have the better coach. But it's just the black magic of the swamp. It's the black magic of Florida. Blake, the worst Florida season in their history, 4-8, just a couple of years ago when Butch Jones was our coach. And one of those 4 wins was against us by 1 point. Like, that's the story of this rivalry, dude. Like in their worst years and some of our best, they still find a way. Peyton Manning, we know 0-4 against the Gators, man. It hurts. It hurts, but they've sold their soul to just win this game. They've traded losing to Kentucky every year just to beat us in the swamp for every year until I die.
Brother, you are right about the voodoo that somehow has befallen us when it comes to this game. You're right about that. However, I cannot, and will not accept your harsh realism. Okay, as realistic as it is, as level headed as you're trying to be, I do think you got a little BVS bubbling up. But
Definitely.
I hear you. I hear you. The evidence is there, so I hear you. But I can't accept the realism, brother. All I can accept is go damn Vols.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we gotta beat these Gators in the swamp. We have to.
You have to.
We
I think
have
it's
to.
critical. I think it's
I
critical.
can't emphasize this
You're
enough.
right.
We have to
I, I
win this
I think
football
you have
game.
to do it for the fan base. I think you have to do it for our athletic director. I think you have to do it for our coach, man. I think this could be the moment that things boil over because things are already tense right now. I mean, and I think everyone's looking at all the coaching moves and thinking, looking at that. Again, I don't think we should fire a coach, but that can change. That can change. We have 2 games in the next 3 weeks, Blake, Vanderbilt and Florida, that I think are critical for the future of this football program. I think it's critical. I think it's critical for
Yes.
recruiting. I think it's critical for the fans' belief in the coach and the coaching staff. And not to mention, it's Florida week, man. It's Florida. You should want to win this game every single year. There's a lot on the line, dude. There is a lot on the line in this game.
Yes. Exactly. So for all of those reasons you just laid out, you're exactly right. We have to win this football game. So I have to believe that we're going to win the football game. I want to win in the swamp again, brother. I was a young lad when last time we won in the swamp with old Casey Clausen, 2 years, 2001, 2003.
What a dog.
He got the job done. What a dog. I mean, that's why we got the Casey Clausen Award, okay,
Yes.
people. He won in the swamp 2 years, 01 and 03. And that 01 win was a big one as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that broke the streak since 1971.
Yes. It was a big game. It got, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one that got rescheduled because of 9/11. All of that. Fulmer gave a fiery pregame speech, brother. Look,
we
folks,
need that.
You haven't seen that.
We need that from Heupel.
If you haven't seen that pregame speech, go look it up. Fulmer's pregame speech in 2001. We need that from Heupel, and we need Joey Aguilar to cement his legacy as a Vol. We got to win in the swamp. My official score prediction: Austin, 34 to 24. 34 to 24.
Okay. Oh, a little no sweater. Yeah, no sweat win in the swamp, Blake. You're not being real with yourself. You know that's not happening. This is either an OT thriller win or it's a heartbreaking loss. That's what this is, and you already know that. And I know you know that. But a couple
more
things.
realistic is 34-27. But I bumped it down to 24 because I gotta believe, brother.
Dude, a couple things you said. One, Aguilar's legacy. Aguilar's likely only going to have one season here as a starting quarterback. It would mean a lot for his legacy. I would know him as the guy that broke the streak in Florida. Like, this could be our marquee win in 2025. This could be the win in 2025 that makes this season memorable. Because right now, there's no memorable win. I'm not happy about beating Kentucky. I'm not happy about beating Mississippi State or Arkansas. These are teams that we should 100% beat all the time. So I'm not happy about any of those wins. This win would mean a lot, despite Florida sucking. It would still mean a ton, and it would cement Aguilar's legacy as a guy who was unwanted. UCLA, a team that's about to go 3-9, didn't want him as their quarterback. Instead, they wanted the 5-star Nico, and look how that worked out. And Joey goes on to beat Florida in the swamp. It would mean a lot. Number two, it would also mean a lot for the future. And what do I mean by that? In the future, Blake, this could be a game that could get us back in the playoff conversation. If you're listening to the rumblings around college football, it's going to expand. It's going to expand even more. And if it turns into a 16-team playoff, this could be a game that's necessary to get into that, despite me not wanting it. I think most people don't want the playoff expanded again, but it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So down the road, this game could mean a lot for potential a playoff situation. So it's a game that matters. And yeah, a lot of legacies on the line. A lot. And Yeah, and our mental health is also on the line in this gameplay.
Mental health is definitely on the line, and again, potentially, at least in our eyes, the Voltalk eyes, some jobs as well. A job in particular in
Tim
one,
Banks,
Mr.
yes.
Timothy Banks.
Correct.
You need to shut down this Florida offense. So we'll see, folks. The game is coming up this Saturday, as Austin mentioned, 7:30 Eastern time in Gainesville. Our Vols will travel down there to face the Gators in a, to us, crucial game. So we are hoping that we come out on the right side of that. I hope. Unfortunately, Austin is typically a Nostradamus when it comes to certain predictions. I hope that his brutal realism
I
does
hope I'm
not
wrong
come
too,
in.
people. I pray
Yeah,
and
I
hope
hope
I'm
it
wrong.
doesn't come to fruition for sure. So, Austin, any final thoughts before we close out this episode? It's been a good
No,
episode.
I just want to beat Florida, man. I think that's where we're all at.
Just
We
beat
just want to
Florida.
beat Florida. I don't care about a record at the end of the year. I don't care about what bowl game we're going to. I don't care about recruit. I just want to beat Florida. Just beat Florida this week.
Beat Florida. That is all that matters. It's Florida week. It's Florida hate week. Beat Florida. Folks, thanks for joining us for this episode. It's been a fun episode, even though, we have had to, talk about, some of the negatives. We got to talk about it, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to beat Florida. And so we hope that we come out on the review show and have a lot of good things to talk about, and a lot of these things that these negatives that we've been talking about turn around, like we talked about, the get right game for Tim Banks, so on and so forth. So we hope to celebrate that with you on Sunday. That is when we do our review shows at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Sundays.
Give
So
or
we will
take.
see you. Give or take. Yeah, we might be, a little late. The
Hair
production
late
team is
here and
late
there.
sometimes. The production team is us, but we'll be sure to dock their pay from 0 to 0. But regardless, the way you can be sure to not miss it is, Austin, for the folks to subscribe and then hit that notification bell on YouTube. You'll be notified whenever we go live. And then, of course, on Spotify, follow us there. The episode will be uploaded to Spotify the day after on Monday morning. So follow us there so you can listen on the way to work. And like the video and drop a comment. We would love to know your thoughts on everything that we just talked about today. And so join the conversation, and we'll be glad to have that conversation with you. But Austin, we're going to catch these folks on the other side of the Florida game. Until then, as always, go freaking Vols, baby.
GBO.